For today's video, we're going to look at vintage hotelware and special orders made by Homer Laughlin in the early 1900s. And when I talk about hotelware and restaurantware, I don't mean the best china lines that were made after 1959. I'm concentrating on a very specific time frame from roughly 1900 to about 1930. Most potteries that were in existence during that time frame did not just make semi-vitreous dinnerware. They also made hotelware, cableware, toiletware, white granite staples, and usually some form of art china. Now all of these products fell under the umbrella of decorated and undecorated whiteware. So you weren't just a dinnerware pottery, you were a whiteware pottery. And in the case of Homer Laughlin, they had a couple assortments of hotelware. They had double thick, they had half thick. I have a couple catalog pages, 1910 and 1914, that show the assortments. And as you can see, it's rather generic shapes. They're pretty plain. There's no fancy embossed shapes going on here like you would see with semi-vitreous dinnerware that was made during the same time frame. So we'll look at a couple examples and then we'll focus on the special orders. So number one is a Seattle individual creamer, and that's what this is. Just a plain shape, no decoration. Number 7 is just a round hotel sugar. We have one of these right here. Nice little embossing on top and the gargoyles. And here's the back stamp, Homer Laughlin Hotel China. No date code, so it's pre-1912. Rather heavy. You can probably see the thickness. This is part of the double thick line. Number 15 is a Baltimore mug. This is also used in dinnerware, but here it's being used with hotelware. It's from 1916, and it has a pattern that we would ordinarily see on Empress dinnerware, but it was also used in hotelware. Couple oval platters, or dishes as they were called back then. This one's undecorated. It's a nice marking of the hotel china, and this one has a brown print. Again, Homer Laughlin Hotel China. Number 28. This is called a sterling platter. Let's see, sterling dish. They were made in several different sizes. There's one here. The nice myrtle green lace or key pattern. Has the eagle and lion back stamp. Number 40, the Rokai jug. We've looked at Rokai jugs and Hallboy jugs before, and this is a Rokai jug. It's going to have a regular Homer Laughlin mark on the bottom, 1921. A specialty piece with this orange luster and rose decals. And then here's a Hallboy jug, made in 2 different sizes. Has that same key pattern that we saw in green. Here it is in gray. And this just has a regular Homer Laughlin back stamp to it. Rather heavy piece. This isn't in our assortment, but I wanted to show it because it's got the little hound finial. Little mustard. No date code, probably about 1910 or so. And a dinner plate. You can see the rolled edge here. They actually call this welt edge. You'll see that sometimes. Let's see if we can find it on here. Welted edge. That would go on to become known as rolled edge. Sometimes it'll be called welded edge. But that's what that is there. It gives it its durability rather than a thin edge. And there's a nice hotel marking from 1921. This is treatment T2803. It was also used on Genesee and Empress. So there is some crossover between the hotel patterns and the dinnerware patterns, not a whole lot. As a matter of fact, we'll look at a catalog from 1908 that has description and prices of the decorated wares. As we go through, we have toiletware, and there are dozens and dozens, well, hundreds of toiletware treatments with their treatment numbers. We keep going, get to dinnerware. There's some American Beauty still being made. Again, what year is this? 1908. Colonial. Lots of Colonial. Some Seneca left over. Lots of Angelus. In fact, 3 pages worth of Angelus. And we see the beginnings of Hudson. Hudson was released in 1908. And then we get to Hotelware, and that's it. There's just a few. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of them. There's their treatment numbers. We look in 1911, a few years later. Again, we see toiletware. The dinnerware, there's more Hudson this time around. There's Angelus and Hudson. American Beauty, Colonial, and Seneca are gone by then. We see Genesee and Niagara, and now we have a few more hotelware patterns. But again, at any given time, there's not a whole lot of them. So now we'll look at some special orders. And when I was at the factory, one of my trips this past year, or last year, I printed out, well, I photographed and then I printed out all the copies of the special orders, and these are on the website, laurelhollowpark.net. So if you go to the website, scroll down the Homer Laughlin section, you'll see a link that says special orders, and it'll show each one of these. And what they did is they take pieces of hotelware, or sometimes dinnerware, and decorate them with logos and emblems from lodges and clubs, organizations, churches, fraternities, sororities, hospitals, and then sell them as banquetware. And these are a little more easy to find than the generic hotelware treatments. So for example, this one's OES. This is Order of the Eastern Star. And we can see a little nappy bowl with that same pattern and the green lines. On the other side is a little Masonic symbol. And this comes from 1916. This particular order comes from 1932, and it's talking about the olive green lines and the logo. Ordered on 6/1/1932, out of kiln 6/13/1932. So this is a pretty common one. It's used for many years. And here's another one in gold on this hotelware sugar. There's those gargoyle handles again. This one, another lodge with a Masonic badge. This is in blue from 1936. We see OES again, Order of the Eastern Star, 1935. The Masonic symbol, this time for a club in Mississippi. This is 1937. This again from Ohio, 1934. First Presbyterian Church, 1935, in green. I have another one. It's the First Methodist Church out of Michigan. So it's the same type of lettering, but this one's in red, and it has our Hotel China back stamp. So it's a little oval baker. American Legion from 1930. Calvary Methodist Church out of Allegheny Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 1936. A fraternity example. This is Beta Theta Pi. 1919. They've got an engraving charge of 75 cents. So if they had something like the Order of the Eastern Star or one of the other logos like an Elks logo that they already had, they didn't charge any special fee. But if they didn't have it and they had to make the engraving for the stamp, there was an extra surcharge. Another American Legion. I wanted to point this one out because it says Butler Brothers out of Chicago. So a lot of these organizations would not contact the pottery directly. Some of them would, but most of them had to go through a distributor. And Butler Brothers was a pretty big distributor for Homer Laughlin in the 20s and 30s. I'm not sure what this one means. EFWC. It's from 1929. And here's our lace border. It actually gives us a treatment number, 4816. We could look that up in the cow book. But this one is for a Rebecca Lodge. It's dated May 17th, 1922. We see the logo. And here's an actual example. The same logo that's on the order form. And it is marked with a 1922 back stamp. So that's our little welt edge nappy ball from Hotelware. Another Masonic emblem, this time in gold. They used Hudson. They used H94, that's a Hudson gold stamp, in conjunction with that. It's from 1931. 1929, another fraternity. This is Phi Epsilon Pi. VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars. Again, being ordered through Butler Brothers, 1937, and so on. So if you want to look at more of these, again, go to the website, laurelhollowpark.net, and scroll down, you'll find the link. Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Mount Pleasant Golf and Country Club, I assume that's what that means. Again, from 1930. New York Hospital. So, we'll look at a couple more of these, and that'll be it. Another lodge from Norway, Maine, I believe. Regular Homer Laughlin back stamp, pair of plates. Little Hotelware bowl with an Elks emblem, BPOE, from 1922. This is called a tankard creamer. Souvenir Belleville, Illinois, 1904. And there's the hotel back stamp. IOOF mug. This is the Baltimore Mug from 1917. And Homer Laughlin was not the only pottery to do these special orders. So you'll find other companies doing these lodges and clubs and organizations. This is an Oyster Bowl, which would be nice if it was just a plain Oyster Bowl, but it has a logo on it. No date code, probably about 1910. Of course, we saw the OES pieces, Order of the Eastern Star. Here's one of those Masonic emblem plates, again with the welt edge. Here it is in blue, from 1917. So they also used semi-vitreous dinnerware sometimes for these orders. And we've got Hudson, there's a creamer with a Rebecca Lodge, 430. And a small jug, UPC, probably United Presbyterian Church. Has little green clovers and all that. Green lining was done by hand. Probably 1909, 1910. Genesee covered sugar. We see those same rings that we see on the other lodges. So if we take the rings off, that's actually a legitimate Genesee treatment for dinnerware, but they just add the rings on there. This probably came with a full set for their lodge. And this is, I believe that's 1912. It's kind of hard to see. And this piece, 35th anniversary of Robert Burns Lodge, dated March 29th, 1905. And they use Seneca. You see the little Seneca curly Q embossing and blue trim. So that's going to be it for now. Vintage hotelware from 1900 to about 1930 and special orders by Homer Laughlin.